it's time to sit back and relax with your favorite drink. And listen. Prison of the Undead by Jrubas. May 23rd, 2024. It's my birthday today. Yay, me. I'm 21 and instead of a car or a visit to the strip club, I got a pack of smokes from Jimmy Muro, a Coke from Corey Knight, and this notebook from Quincy Jennings. I mean, I'm touched and all. I didn't expect shit, but yeah, I'm still kind of disappointed. It'll be a year in June since I got here. Wonder if I'll get something then. You know, a little anniversary present. A hustler would be nice. I'm starting to forget what a woman looks like. The only one around here is Tina Snipe, who works a night shift. She's manlier than I am. Not that I'm a bitch or anything. Well, I work out and play ball in the yard, so I'm pretty toned. But Tina, shit. Her arms are about as big around as Rambo's, and her neck looks like a pack of hot dogs. She keeps her hair really short and swaggers up and down the block like she's got a Ron Jeremy between her legs. Some of the guys who've been in here for years talk about doing her if they could get a hold of her. Shit, she'd probably do them. God, I hope I don't end up pounding myself to her one day. But then again, not like a lot of guys in here. It's amazing how much sex means to some people. It's like a sickness. They get taken off the streets, so they start putting it into other men. It's not even the homosexuals you have to worry about. It's the straights. I knew this black dude who was a gangster, in for pimping. Every time he came back to prison, he was suddenly gay. Yeah, he was the pitcher now, but gay nonetheless. I mean, this other little black dude, regular gay guy, has his bitch, rubbing his feet, getting his tray, sucking him, and all that kind of shit. But, whatever. To each his own. I don't have anything against queers. This one dude named Matt's pretty cool. He has kind of, I don't know, feathered 70s hair and a 5 o'clock shadow. We play chess in the yard sometimes, so he's good too. Has a little table set up near the wall in the shadow of one of the guard towers, and waits for guys to play him. Step right up, he occasionally calls out. Come get that ass beat. Anyone who steps up loses big time. Well, this black dude got pissed once and flipped the table over, scattering Matt's pieces everywhere. Man, he got pissed. Beat the holy fuck out of the dude. Left, right, left, roundhouse. Looked like a freaking UFC match. It took 6 guards to drag him off. Sometime later. It was about 3 or so in the morning. I just woke up from a terrible nightmare. Can't really remember any details. But it was about zombies, I know that. I think it was in this isolated farmhouse, and they were shambling through the dark, all over the front yard, backyard, the side yards, and I was alone. For some reason, I think I was a little kid, maybe 6 or 7, and I was trying to hide somewhere. I can't remember where, but it was like right in plain sight. Living room, yeah, that's it. I was in this living room, cowering in a semi-dark corner, hoping the fucks couldn't see me through the big picture window. There was a porch light streaming in. I was just out of its reach, so I thought I'd be safe. God, it was horrible. They were on the porch, passing back and forth. Finally, one looked right at me. It was a tall guy in a dusty suit, and his head was all rotted and brown and lumpy. He smiled, yeah, frickin' smiled at me, and then started pounding on the window. I was too scared to move. His buddies joined in, and the sound of smashing glass is what woke me up. Never should have watched the news today. I was trying to keep away from that shit, but my curiosity got the best of me. Well, it's not like I saw any of them up close. Just shaky footage from a chopper. Some of them were crossing a huge field, and the guardsman was shooting at them from the highway. After that, some bubble blonde came on and interviewed this scientist out of Harvard or Princeton or something. And, well, that's it. I wonder what the hell's making them come back anyway. The government's saying radiation from the Saturn probe. I don't believe that shit. Look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Islands. And did any of that shit produce flesh-eating zombies? I bet it's a virus. Something escaped from a government lab somewhere. That makes the most sense to me. Some new biological weapon in the works, based on the zombie myth. An accident. Sounds like the plot of a movie, doesn't it? Well, like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. May 24th, 2024. Oh, today was typical. Nothing exciting. That's fine with me, though. Exciting here doesn't mean the same thing it does out there. Usually, it means terrible. Oh, we had an exciting few days last week, when the Nazis and the Crips over in E-Block started a little mini riot. You see, during most of the day, our cells are open. We can come and go as we please. There's not really much to do. Go down to the day room or the rec room, which is just an open space with metal tables where you can play cards or checkers or something like that. Well, anyway, I guess some kind of drug deal was going down. It went bad or something. I don't know, but, well, all hell broke loose. The guards made us go back into our cells and put us on lockdown for like 2 days. So, nothing major happened, and I'm cool with that. I got up at sunrise like always and did my workouts. The cell block was still dim and almost eerily tranquil, so I tried to be as quiet as I could. Around 7, when the others were coming groggily awake and stirring in their cells, a guard came round and did a head count. We got one guy, Steve Jordan, bank robber, jerking his gherkin. "Oh, get it out of your hand," he yelled, his steely voice echoing up and down the hall. Some of the other guys jumped in, laughing and making fun of Jordan. Hypocrites, they beat their meat too. Everyone does around here. If you don't, well, you're using something else to get you there. 15 minutes later, while a few of the guys were still razzing Jordan, the door slid open and we fell into line. A few marble-faced guards stood along the way to make sure we behaved ourselves. I was the last, and shuffled along after everyone else. The door at the end of the cell block opens onto a long hall, lined with barred windows which let in the bright orange morning sun. I glanced out, seeing the rising barbed wire top fence, and turned back to the bald head in front of me. Through another door is the cafeteria, which, if you've ever gone to a public school, I don't need to waste space on. We filed along the counter and picked up what we wanted. Cold scrambled eggs, rock-hard toast, half-raw potatoes, glass of orange juice. It sounds kingly for prison, but you try choking the shit down every morning. "Hey, Benny, what's up?" I looked up from my metal tray, already recognizing the voice. Will Legg stood about 5 foot and weighed about the same as a paper bag. He wore a plastic hairnet and a drab blue apron over his light blue shirt. He was smiling, revealing his rotted teeth. "Not much, Will," I replied. Now, Will's a serial killer. He used to run around Newport News and Hampton Roads shooting people in the back of the head. Well, he escaped the death penalty because the ACLU didn't like how he was taken down and advocated for him to the bitter end, paying for the best legal defense and everything. He laughs about it, saying he played them for all they were worth. Instead of death, this son of a bitch is looking at parole in 30 years. "I can't wait till real summer gets here," he commented, slopping potatoes onto my tray. "I love the heat." "Yeah, me too," I said, moving on. "Yeah, enjoy your breakfast." Jeez, what the fuck did that mean? Did he spit in it or something? Well, probably not, I figured. Serial killers are notorious bitches when they get into the penal system. Model prisoners. I sat down at one of the long tables against the far wall across from Quincy and Jimmy. "Yeah, what's good, cuz?" Quincy asked as we did one of his black handshakes. "Not a goddamn thing," I said, settling down. "I hear we're getting an extra 5 minutes of rec time," Jimmy put in, stuffing toast into his mouth and crunching it. "Since we ain't started any shit." "I wish," Quincy said, bending over his food. "Probably bullshit. Who told you that anyway?" "Tina." "Oh, man, that bitch is lying." Quincy turned. "She just wants to get your hopes up." "I don't think she'd do some shit like that," Jimmy replied. "She's pretty cool. You just gotta..." Quincy shook his head. Okay, but when your ass is coming in same time from the yard, you'll see," I bet you a pack of ports she ain't lying, Jimmy said. You got yourself a deal. Quincy and Jimmy shook. Quincy then rubbed his hands and looked at me. I taste them already. Keep dreaming, Jimmy said. Breakfast was over in 20 minutes. We all lined back up and were led back to our cells. A lot of guys go back to sleep after breakfast and don't wake up till lunch. Well, I am the type that gets up and stays up, so it worked out a little bit. You looking to beat me, Jew? I was doing push-ups against the wall, facing the little barred window. I turned. Billy Sutherland occupies the cell next to Quincy's, which is right across from mine. He was standing naked to the waist, looking out at me, his hands clutched around the bars. You want to take me down? Shut the hell up, I said, and then turned my back to him. Billy was a neo-Nazi Aryan Brotherhood ankle-biter, full of talk and shit. I'll rip that big nose off your face and shove it up your ass. I got something you can shove, I muttered under my breath, getting back to my workouts. Oh, shank your guts out, you freaking maggot. I ignored him. Then I'll skull fuck you. Ignored him. Heil Hitler. Ignored. Finally, he stopped. When I was done, I climbed up onto my bunk and read the opening 100 pages of a Dean Koontz thriller. I could have gotten more, but Billy would occasionally call out and distract me. Always got that fat frickin' nose buried in a book, you frickin' nerd. When rec time came, the doors were opened and we were let out. I stood behind Billy. He didn't make a move or even look at me. The sun was high in the cloudless sky, and the temp must have been around 80. I played a losing game of chess with Matt, and then walked around with Quincy and Jimmy. We talked about a lot of nothing. Jimmy boasted about some of the crimes he'd committed in the ghetto. A lot of guys like to brag on themselves, and I fucking hate it. I keep to myself about what I did. Quincy does too. He told me once what he did. Robbed a liquor store, but only when I'd asked him. So I jumped in the river and frickin' dipped, Jimmy was saying. Lucky your ass didn't get hypothermia, Quincy replied, hitching his pants up for the 100th time. I was in the woods after that for about 3 hours. Man, I was cold as shit. Finally got a ride from some old redneck in a pickup. And all that over parking tickets? Well, yeah, didn't have any money. Oh man, you're dumb. How much time did you get when they caught your ass? A year. See, you wouldn't have got shit for parking tickets, but you had to run, man. Quincy looked at me then. See this shit? I nodded. Yeah, not really smart, Jimmy. Fuck you guys, Jimmy said offensively. Quincy laughed. Rec time ended at the normal time, and back on the cell block. Our doors were open now. Jimmy grumblingly gave Quincy a pack of Newports. May 25th, 2024. God damn it. Shit. Today sucked dick. Big, with dripping yellow pus. God, I could rip someone's freaking head off right now. I mean it too. A lot of people talk shit, but I'm serious. A CO named Rob, real cool guy, was supposed to smuggle me in a blunt today, but the darn bastard called in sick. Third motherfucker to do that this week. I caught some Fox News in the day room with Jimmy and Billy earlier. That didn't help my mood. Pictures of burning cities, looted storefronts, riot police, interstates crammed with traffic, hordes of walking dead, the president declaring martial law from a fallout shelter in West Virginia. Yep, freaking grim. Of course, Billy spent the entire time bitching about black people swarming around the ghettos and taking advantage of the situation, carrying away TVs, stereos, and shoes. Finally, I had to leave the room. The combination of him and the news was just too much. Best not to even think about it. Oh, at dinner there was a fight in the cafeteria. A black guy named Derek and a Mexican named Antonio started throwing fists out of nowhere. Couple of testosterone-drenched retards. Anyway, we came right back to ourselves and might be on lockdown tomorrow. Those two ass clowns will be lucky if they don't get their heads cracked open. God, I hate that punish one, punish all system. Sometime later, about a half hour ago, I finished the last 100 pages of a book by Dean Koontz called Relentless. Man, that guy's a freaking god. When I closed the book and put it down, I realized I didn't have anything else to read, so I got up, went to my cell door, called across to Quincy. Hey, Quinn. He was sitting on his bunk, back against the wall. Yeah? Hey, you still got that ghost book? The ghost book's an anthology of ghost stories from the South. Nah, man, Matt's got it. Oh, shit. Hey, I got some romance stories. I crinkled my face. Fuck, no. He smiled. Yeah, beggars can't be choosers, man. I guess I'll just write in my diary. Before Quincy could respond, Billy Sutherland jumped in. Girls keep diaries. He was standing at the door, his arms thrust through the bars, crossed at the wrists. Oh, journal, I corrected. Yeah, nerds keep journals. God, whatever. May 26th, 2024. Yeah, son of a bitch, we're on lockdown. I have a book, but I'm too goddamn steamed to read. It's a beautiful day out there, and I don't get to experience any of it thanks to those assholes. Don't even feel like writing right now. May 27th, 2024. Oh, we're still on lockdown. It's cold and rainy out, so it's not like I'm missing any yard time, but the boredom is frickin' terrible. Just imagine sitting in an empty room all day with nothing to do. If you're not careful, you'll go crazy. I've seen a few guys lose their minds after being in their cells too long. It ain't pretty. They get red and clenched and start shaking. Then they blow like dynamite and start yelling and screaming and kicking and punching. That's when they call in the prison SWAT to come in and subdue them. Yeah, they get the guy into this chair with straps and belt him in. Then they put a mesh spit guard on his face and wheel him off. There's something about it that just really disturbs me. I mean, how degrading. I thought the Bill of Rights outlawed cruel and unusual punishment. Yeah, well, we're on lockdown. And that's cruel and unusual. If I had a book, it'd be better. I've just been laying here, thinking about life, or trying to. Never got too in-depth because that freaking ass clown Billy has been doing anything and everything to piss everyone off today. Oh man, I could kill his ass. At first, at 4 a.m, he started screaming out some racist song about blacks and wild Indians from the plains at the top of his lungs. Oh man, shut the fuck up. Muffled voice cried tiredly as their owners reluctantly stirred. Tina finally came out and told him to pipe down, and he did, for about 5 minutes. Then he started acting like a woman in the throes of orgasm, screaming, moaning, and screeching, "Oh God, yes." By 5, with most of us up thanks to his bitch ass, he starts singing out insults for everyone within earshot. Hey, Benson's a four-eyed homo. Murrow's a black-loving wannabe. When lunch was served, he kept flicking bits of corn into my cell. I tried to let it go, but I just blew it. I took my cup of corn and threw it across the hall. It hit his bars and showered Billy's smug little face. Hey, I'll kill your ass if you keep it up, I shouted, and I meant it too. He launched into a tirade of threats and insults, but before he could really get going, a guard came out and made his threat. If we kept acting like assholes, we'd get an extra day of lockdown. You better believe everyone's been as good as gold since. Except Billy. He cries out every now and then, jarring our nerves. June 1st, 2024. This morning after breakfast and before reg time, I was sitting in my cell reading when one of the guards came and told me my lawyer was on the phone. I followed him to the office. a drab, Spartan space with tan wallpaper, rusted metal desks crammed with papers and computers, and sat in an uncomfortable chair near a desk. He picked up the white handset, stabbed a red button, and handed it to me. "Hello?" A wave of static crashed. "Benny, how are you?" David Sawyer is in his mid-50s and wears his iron hair in a Shemp Howard fashion, hanging in his eyes, if not tucked behind his ears. He has a vast collection of bow ties, which he wears religiously, and his glasses are like huge Coke bottles. I think he consciously tries to affect the air of a Southern attorney from the 40s. He pulls it off quite well. As well as anyone in 2024 can, that is. "Pretty good," I replied. "You staying out of trouble?" "Yeah, read a lot, you know." "Well, yeah, still." Another blast of static cut him off. Odd, the reception's always been fine in the past. "Hey, what was that? Reading that Stephen King stuff?" I smiled. At my trial, Dave tried to blame what I did on my love of Stephen King books. He even went so far as to read 3 of them before court, and happened to find a scene eerily similar to my crime. In fact, I'd never even read that book. Still haven't. "Well, not so much anymore." "Well, life's starting to feel like a Stephen King book," he said, and then nervously tittered. "Getting weird out there, huh?" "Oh, more than that," he said gravely, and then paused. "That's actually sort of the reason I called." "Yeah?" "Yeah, no, my monthly appointment with you is on, papers shuffled, the, 13th, but, won't be able to make it." "Oh." "Yeah, my wife and I are going to West Virginia tomorrow. We have a cabin up there in the woods. We're gonna wait this thing out." Is it really that bad out there?" "Yeah, Ben, it is. Hey, look, I gotta go. I gotta make a dozen more of these calls. You take care, okay? Might see you in the fall." And then, without ceremony, he hung up. I might see you in the fall. Might. The guard took me back to my cell, and for a long time I just brooded. Now that I think about it, a lot of the usual guards haven't been in for a while. In quite a while. And my therapist, an old hippie guy named Bill, called in his vacation time last week. I guess it's really not that weird. I wouldn't come in if I were them. Why the hell fight my way through packs of killer zombies just to get to work? June 3rd, 2024. Things keep getting weirder and weirder around here. Maybe David's phone call opened my eyes, and I'm just now noticing it, but I don't think so. Seems like things are getting bad pretty quick. Reminds me of the Titanic. Strange analogy, I know. And that's what it puts me in mind of. That mother sat there for 2 hours, lights blazing and music playing. Then in 10 minutes it was gone. One moment the deck's a little off kilter. The next, everyone's in the water like, what the fuck? I guess everything has a point at which it breaks wide open, again like the Titanic. If that's so, then we reached it. The most noticeable thing is the atmosphere. It's crackling with this dark tension so thick it could choke you. The guards aren't themselves. They're starting to worry, and it shows. Yeah, the normal facade is still up, but it's starting to crack. Yesterday, Sean Fields, one of the afternoon COs, told me that at least 10 guards had called in that morning. Said it was getting too dangerous to come in anymore. He was probably going to take off sometime soon, too. Later, he got a phone call from home and rushed out the door in a panic. And when the shift supervisor tried to stop him, he quit right on the spot. Yeah, and then there's Charlie, an older black guy who works weekends. I was working out this morning when he came by doing the head count like nothing. "Benny, what's up, man?" "Hey, Charlie, what are you doing here?" "They called me in last night," he said, leaning against the door. "Working short." He couldn't talk much longer. He said he was going to go home, but when we were let out for breakfast, he was still around. Yeah, working a double, he sighed as we were led into the cafeteria. At lunch, I counted only 2 guards in the cafeteria, and there should have been 4. The 2 I saw stood nervously by the payphones and whispered back and forth more than they were watching us. When I mentioned it to Corey Knight, he nodded. Yeah, get this. He then looked left and right and leaned in conspiratorially. They cancelled all infirmary visits. I was supposed to go for a checkup, but... Then Jimmy jumped in. Yeah, cancel my Bible class too. I heard they're gonna cancel yard time. Man, what the fuck? Quincy perked up. Why? Corey shrugged. Daryl Haynes said there aren't people coming into work anymore. Daryl Haynes is a floater. That is, a guy out who doesn't work a particular unit, just where they're needed. Yeah, said admin's been gone since the day before yesterday. No one even knows if they're gonna get paid. Later, around midnight, as I was lying in bed struggling to sleep, I heard Charlie and Tina arguing. The pod door clanged open, and there were footsteps. I can't stay, Charlie said, or rather pled. Well, you have to, Tina replied. I'm alone tonight. I've been working 24 hours straight. I can't. Charlie, listen. No, he retorted firmly. He passed by and went out the other door. Tina returned to the control booth, muttering curses under her breath. Jeez, this shit is starting to get crazy. June 4th, 2024. When I was up and out of bed at my regular time, doing push-ups. What's that Chuck Norris fact? When he does push-ups, he's actually pushing the earth down. Getting myself in a state to face the day. When Tina, as big as life and twice as ugly, comes down the hall pushing a cart laden with trays. Quincy sighed from his cell. Hey, watch your mouth, Tina spat, passing a tray through the slot in my door. We on lockdown? Jimmy asked. No, came her surly reply. Well, then... She threw him a glance that warned against further questions and shoved his tray through. She went on, one cartwheel wobbling and squeaking. Hey, what the fuck? Billy looked through his bars after her, his eyes narrowed and almost predatory. This sucks. Quincy shook his head. Hey, if we're not on lockdown, Jimmy started. We are, Quincy said definitively. They just trying that diplomacy shit. Some of the guys down the way kept it up for much longer, shouting back and forth at each other, commiserating, laughing, growling. I ate my breakfast, and when Tina came back around and took the trays, she said, in general, Okay, listen up. Everyone fell silent. No yard today. A babble of disappointment. But you still get rec. Extra even. That softened the blow, but not by much. They let us do an hour before lunch and didn't make us go back until dinner. I ate at one of the tables with Quincy and Jimmy. After lunch, we held an impromptu race, but Tina leaned out of the office door and yelled at us. I caught a little Fox News with Billy. The hosts were joking about woke zombie activists. Real funny until they showed videos from TikTok of dumbass kids literally calling the government Nazis for killing zombies. This isn't the apocalypse we wanted, but damned if it's not the one we deserved. Toward 5:30, as dinner was being passed out, he bowed his head and asked everyone watching to pray with him. Oh, he believes in Jesus and I don't, and though I'm at least a few miles to the left of him, I bowed my head and prayed, or at least tried to. June 5th, 2024. Well, today, we're officially on lockdown. Tina didn't have the balls to tell us until we were eating lunch. Everyone exploded, excluding me, Quincy and Jimmy, and probably Corey Knight. Billy was the loudest mouth there, his shaky voice rising above the din. The whirlwind kept up for hours until everyone was too hoarse to even whisper. I've been reading a Dean Koontz book since it died down, but my focus isn't very good. I can barely remember the last 50 pages. Anyway, at 3, when everyone was still going crazy, Tina left and the weekend shift came in. Or 2 of the weekend shift came in. JT, the manager, and Jason Haggerty. They brought us dinner, but didn't come around again until lights out. "Bedtime, Benny," Jason said through the bars as he passed. "All right," I said, putting aside my book. And then it struck me. "Jason?" "Huh?" "What's going on?" He looked at me for a long time. "Bad shit, Benny." "What kind of bad shit?" "Bad shit." June 6th, 2024. Haggerty came around with breakfast 2 hours late, and hinted around that he had to make it himself. He passed by an hour later in his street clothes, a jersey and a pair of jeans. Well, he ignored the questions thrown at him. A half-hour later after that, Tina, who couldn't be more out of place, hurried by with a piece of paper crumbled in her meaty right hand. She came back with JT and announced that the governor was pardoning all non-violent offenders and convicts with less than 3 years left to serve. Well, with almost everyone gone, the block is about as deserted as a country road at midnight. At dinner, Tina's cart held 6 trays. Me, Billy, Quincy, Jimmy, and 2 others down the block. None could be Corey Wright. I saw him go out the door earlier. It's eerie being here with only 5 other people. Empty. Dead. Even at night there was a feeling of life. Now it's as void as the basement of a deserted house in the woods. The only sounds are the industrial air systems whirring on and off and the occasional cough or stir, which startles me every time. I was reading earlier and almost had a heart attack when the door to the pod clanged open. Tina, dressed in a pair of khaki shorts and a lumberjack cutoff, strode purposely by. I guess she's going home to stay, like Haggerty. June 7th, 2024. Breakfast came about 3 hours late today. The guys were getting rowdy when JT came down the line with the trays. God, he looked like shit. Dark bags hanging under his pink, sleepless eyes. He handed out the cold cereal and hard toast as quick as he could. Some of the others hurled abuse at him. Others asked him desperate questions, but he ignored them all. When he came by my cell, I took the tray with a muttered thanks. As the door to the block closed with an ominous, echoing finality, I looked at the slop in the metal bowl before me and wondered if this is the end. Pushing those thoughts aside, I ate my cereal. When I was done, I lay back on my bunk and gazed at the cracked concrete ceiling, trying my best to focus on anything other than zombies and Armageddon. Dinner didn't come until almost 10. JT was acting strange. June 8th, 2024. Could have added this yesterday, but I was too depressed. JT killed himself after he brought dinner. Or at least I assume he killed himself. No one knows for sure. But about 10 minutes after he went back to the control room, a single gunshot startled all of us from our meals. Quincy's head jerked up, his brow furrowed. What the fuck? Billy hopped off his cot, went to his door, and strained to look up the hall. Quincy sat aside his tray and tried to have a look for himself. I sat where I was, already knowing I wouldn't see anything. He was speechless, I think. Nobody said a word. No one came to investigate the shots. It was loud as hell. Must have come from something like a 357. They had to have heard it elsewhere. Or maybe JT was the last. No, there was another. An hour after he died, I saw someone else. My window overlooks the main entrance, and I was gazing out, thinking and silently praying, when a car came up the little service road and stopped, the red taillights glowing in the rain. Someone got out, opened the gate by hand, and drove off. June 9th, 2024. Crawled out of bed around noon with a throbbing headache and a nauseous stomach. I felt like a guy coming down off a monster drinking session. Didn't fall asleep until dawn and spent most of the morning starting awake from horrible, half-remembered dreams. In one of them, JT was a zombie, even though the bullet had splattered most of his brain across the control panel. The spookiest thing about that one is that he wasn't a mindless thing. He was, like a person. He came down during the morning head count with an evil grin on his face. The top of his head, a black and red mess, and his white uniform shirt drenched in blood. Good morning, Jude. Morning, JT, I replied. I closed my eyes so I wouldn't have to look at him, but I could still see him through my lids. In another, I was out of my cell and alone, wandering through dark, echoey halls and desperately looking for someone else. I heard things scratching and clawing and sniggering in the gloom behind me, and that's all. I tried to run, but it was like my feet weighed 1,000 pounds each. I finally found a door and burst out into daylight, and the arms of about a dozen zombies. The sun was hot on my flesh when I woke. Billy was up and quietly doing sit-ups in his cell. Quincy was reading, and Jimmy was jotting something down on a piece of paper. Morning, Jude, Billy said, and I was instantly reminded of JT. Fuck you, I muttered, sitting up and rubbing painful grains from my eyes. Most of the afternoon was quiet. I watched the roadway like a hawk, but no one came or went, and the gate was still open. Around 3 or so, I heard voices, guys from another block shouting themselves hoarse for someone to come and let them out. One of them must have worked loose a bit of his cot rigging, for the screams were accompanied by a monotonous clanging. One of them had a set of pipes AC/DC would envy. I could actually make out a few words. Help me. Open the fucking door. Shut the fuck up, Billy screamed back, but I don't think they heard him. Sometime before 5, a phone in the control booth started ringing. It went on and on and on and on. When night fell, the floodlights along the fence didn't come on. Shawshank is an old place. They aren't automatic. Well, we're officially fucked, Billy said. Someone's around. I sighed without conviction. I mean, they've gotta be. No, they ain't, Quincy spat. They left us for dead. Yeah, you got that right, Billy concurred, beginning to pace like a caged animal. See, that's what happens in a capitalistic society. Fat folks weren't getting paid, so they said fuck it and took off. Well, they probably wanted to be with their families, I feebly countered. Well, the way things are. Bullshit. If they were really that goddamn worried, they'd bring their families here. I mean, we got tons of food, guns, vents, medical supplies. This is the perfect fortress. But, newsflash, shit ain't that bad. They just left because they weren't getting paid. Yeah, you go, white boy, someone down the block shouted. If things aren't that bad, why the hell are they pardoning convicts? You think they just walked out of here? Billy stopped and favored me with a disbelieving stare. You think they just release a bunch of criminals back into the community? You're naive. They wouldn't do that. No, they weren't pardoned. They were drafted. For a long time, he stopped, seeming to brood, and then said, well, as for us, we got one hope. Admin sees it ain't the end of the world and comes back, which I doubt will happen. Well, he's right. We're done. Fucked. Dead. Oh, my stomach's already growling like hell. It's been over 24 hours since I ate, and that wasn't much. JT wasn't in a Martha Stewart mood. Probably just went to the kitchen and grabbed whatever. Right. More tomorrow. June 10th, 2024. Well, as if my depression couldn't get any worse. I just sat down here and found out that I only have a couple of sheets left in this notebook. God, it's unreal. It wouldn't surprise me if some sadistic ghost or something ripped out a whole bunch and hid them so it could get off on my misery. God. fuck, I mean, I gave some paper to Quincy and Jimmy the other day. Even a sheet to Billy, but... Well, I guess I'll just enter every other day. Try to be short and sweet. Looking back, some of my entries are long as shit. But whatever. I have a few books, so it's not like I don't have anything else. In fact, I'd rather be reading than doing this. I can escape in a book. But writing, well, it's like probing a nasty wound. June 12th, 2024. Oh, I woke up so hungry this morning I thought my appendix burst and I was dying. My stomach hurt worse than anything I can remember. Felt kind of like someone was inside squeezing the shit out of my guts. And that was about sunrise. I've been up ever since, pacing the cell and looking out the window at the beautiful summer landscape. There are a few zombies at the gates clawing and trying to get in. They probably came from I-81, which runs just beyond the forest and down a sloping hill. Something blew up out there yesterday. There was a bright flash over the treetops, then sooty black smoke started pouring into the sky. Maybe it was some kind of pileup. Maybe something happened in Gordonsville, a little town just across 81. Either way, dead people are at the fence. June 14th, 2024. Look what your brother did to the door. For some reason I woke up with that quote on my mind. Forget what movie it comes from, some old indie horror film from the late 60s or early 70s. You know the kind I'm talking about. With the low budget and the cult followings. I can't even remember what exactly your brother did to the door. It was a funny scene, though. His father was chasing him around the kitchen with a broom handle screaming, and your brother, this big Jason Voorhees type, was squealing in mortal terror. Oh, you damn fool. You ruined the door. Wish someone would ruin this frickin' door. Spent most of the morning looking at it, and it just stared mockingly back, challenging me to take it on. Billy's desperately trying to get his open, soaring at one of the bars with this little shank. Well, it's hopeless, but I can't blame him. Man, you ain't getting out, Quincy told him. Fuck you, he replied, running the blade against the bar so fast I expected sparks to start flying out. After a while he started screaming as his arm cramped, but he kept at it. He finally tired himself out, though, and quit. I've been laying around like a comatose chicken, curled up in a fetal position and dozing, having wet dreams about food. Man, last night it was a hamburger. I had lettuce, tomato, onions, mayo, ketchup and mustard, pickles. Every time I think about it, a pang of agony ripples through my stomach. I never once thought I'd ever be this hungry. God, it feels like I'm just freaking hollow in the middle. Like there's a big cartoonish hole where my gut should be. I wonder if my stomach will start eating itself. Yeah, I heard that somewhere. Probably bullshit. And how the hell can a stomach eat itself? Where are the fucking teeth? Maybe it can somehow absorb itself or something. I don't know. Damn it. God, help me, I groaned at one point. God hates Jews, Billy said, unenthusiastically. Billy? Why the hell do you hate Jews so much? I asked. Yeah, they rule the world, he replied. No, they don't. Sure as fuck do. They want to taint white flesh and let all that immoral shit out. Gays dancing in the streets, I know it. Idiot. Didn't have the energy to fight with him. I just shut my mouth, and I've been writing this ever since. Well, it's close to dusk now, and the light streaming through the window is a warm, weak scarlet color. Everyone else is asleep, at least up here. I hear an occasional laugh from down the block. I was about to sleep, and I remembered it was dinner time, and that a week ago I'd be getting down with something hot and tasty. Well, I never thought I'd say this, but I miss prison food. I'd give my left nut for a piece of toast right now. Sometime later. I have no idea what time it is. Past midnight. I was asleep having a nightmare. In it, I was out and rummaging through the kitchen for something to eat when one of the doors burst open and all kinds of zombies started shambling in. Corey Knight was there, so were a few of the others. I was making a nice triple-decker sandwich, like the kind Shaggy and Scooby are always pounding down. It looked better than anything. What ham, roast beef, turkey, tomatoes, lettuce, onions, banana peppers, jalapenos, cheese, and even a little olive on a toothpick sticking up for when I was done. Those frickin' monsters scared me and I dropped it. I frickin' dropped it. I watched in horror as beautiful toppings went all over the place. I fell to my knees and was racked with sobs of grief. I didn't even resist as they fell on me and started to eat me. I could feel the pain, but I didn't care. Sometime later, I was in that warm, fuzzy limbo between sleep and wakefulness, my last lingering thoughts straining to burst into vivid nightmares, when an odd sound dispelled the gathering mist in my head. Suddenly alarmed, I sat up, and in the gloom across the hall, I saw a dark form at Billy's door. He was sawing at that damn bar again, so I breathed a sigh of relief. "Billy, give it up," I croaked dryly. "Get some rest." "I've been sleeping all day," he grunted, and he intensified his attack. "I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get the switch and get us all out of here." You realize that the door to the control booth is outside the block, right? You won't get the outer door open in a million years. Billy stopped dead in his tracks. I think I saw his shoulders sag. "The pod door?" "Yeah." The pod door is about 3 or 4 inches of thick metal with a huge lock. He was quiet for a long moment. "Fuck," he said heavily. "I didn't think of that." And he was dead silent for about 10 minutes. I lay back down and closed my eyes. "Hey, Benny," Billy asked tentatively. "Yeah? You really think we're fucked?" For a long time I pondered that. Did I? Do I? With the sun high in the sky and birds singing in the trees, the ancient and omnipresent moon illuminating the night, and the land standing unchanged. Are we, gonna die? Oh, Billy must have thought I'd fallen asleep. "Benny?" "Yeah," I replied, thoughtfully. "Yeah, we are." June 16th, 2024. Jimmy borrowed, long lost. I could barely even get over to the cell door. God, he looked even worse, thinner, and his head looked too big for his body. His eyes were sunken and his skin was a weird color. Quincy was sitting on his cot looking at his hands. He looked like shit too. "Here," I said, squatted, and slid it across the floor. The book somehow made it into Jimmy's reach. "Thanks, man." Billy was sawing on that same bar again, grinning now like he's freaking crazy. "Oh, give it up, Billy," I said. He didn't reply, but he knew it was a lost cause. I've been lying on my bunk ever since, my stomach gurgling agonizingly and my forehead burning with some kind of fever. I don't think I have the energy to keep this shit up much longer. I take little cat naps, but they're just not doing it. I try not to, but I have nightmares. Not about zombies, but about food. I woke up with a boner this morning from a dream of southern fried chicken and biscuits. June 18th, 2024. There were about 10 zombies down at the fence when I woke up this morning. I watched them out the narrow window most of the day, disgusted and fascinated at the same time. God, they look so much like normal people from here. I couldn't even see wounds on most of them. Well, except the cop. His guts are hanging out. The gateway is still open. A few of them are inside now, walking in circles. I hope no one left any doors open. God, the last thing I want is one of those things in here. June 20th, 2024. It was nice and sunny when I got up around 2 this afternoon, but deep black clouds started gathering in the east sometime around 4:30. It started raining heavy 10 minutes later, thunder crashing and lightning flashing. The wind picked up and hail the size of ping-pong balls began plopping out of the sky. Well, the idiot zombies didn't seem to notice any of this. They just kept clawing at the fence. What retards. They could just come through the gate, but they just, pass it by like it's nothing. They're the things bringing the world to an end. These stupid, shuffling weaklings. God, they make Romero's ghouls look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Anyway, I was watching the storm out the window when I saw a goddamn funnel form high in the sky and drop like a Viet Cong gook from a tree. I must have touched down in a neighborhood because within a minute all kinds of shit was swirling in around it like pagan dancers. Pretty sure I even saw a tractor trailer. "Hey guys," I called out over my shoulder. "There's a tornado out here." Quincy rolled off his bed and came to his door. "Where's it at, man? Ain't coming this way, is it?" He sounded scared. I wasn't. I thought it was pretty damn cool. Felt almost alive for the first time in, a week or more. The swaying trunk moved south, swung back north, and then looked as though it was coming right at us. My heart slammed and fear coursed through my veins. I felt so good. God, I was lightheaded. "Yeah, I think it is," I cried almost joyously. "Oh, fuck." "Hey, I see it," one of the guys further down the block called out. "Oh man, look at that shit." The tornado continued our way, striking something that mushroomed in a bright orange ball of fire. I oohed, and the guy down the block awed. "Hey, is it coming?" Jimmy yelled frantically from behind me. "Yeah." "Oh shit, man, we're fucked." "I hope it hits," I said, suddenly realizing what would happen. If it hits, it might smash the building open and we can get out of here. I was almost literally bursting with excitement, but that turned to horror when I saw our salvation shift again and glide away. No, God damn it. June 23rd, 2024. The power went out yesterday. It was evening and I was rescanning Relentless when the overhead lights flickered, hummed, and then died. Everyone groaned at once. "God damn it," someone yelled from down the block. When night fell, it was pitch black. It wasn't even a moon. A couple of times someone would get up to use the crapper and fall or knock into something. I banged my shin. That night I had a nightmare where the dead got into the prison and were eating people, and it was so dark all I could do was sit on my bunk and listen to people screaming and the zombies moaning and chewing. Today Billy's been staring into space. God, it's kind of scary. I called his name, but he just gazed at the wall. June 24th, 2024. On the last page. I gave away some more paper to Quincy. Don't know what he's doing with it, but whatever. Well, I don't need it anymore. There's no hope. They aren't coming back. We're all fucked, just like Billy said. Billy. He killed himself last night. Gashed his wrists open with a bit of metal bunk rigging. Now he's standing at his door, drooling and reaching through the bars at me, his eyes grey and empty. God, it's about 110 degrees in here, and he's already starting to reek. How long until it's me, dead on the ground, stinking? How long until it's all of us? Well, my dear friends, what did you think of that one? Interesting take on the zombie apocalypse phenomenon, don't you think? Telling it from the perspective of the prisoner. A little bit of an echo of Stephen King's The Stand there, but it's all good. Lots of interesting details there and lots to ponder. So tell me what you thought. Thoughts, feelings, anything else you want to write in the comment section below the video. And as ever, I will do my very best to join in the conversation. That's a pretty good start to the week. Back again on Wednesday. Podcast coming up on Thursday. And then who knows what. I can't think that far into the future, but of course I'll be back to my regularly scheduled videos for the next few years, whatever. Well, my dear friends, till the next time, very, very sweet dreams, and bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this story today. Really means a lot to me and to the author of the story, of course. Well, if you want to know more about me, I'm pretty much everywhere on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can download my music on SoundCloud. I've got a Patreon if you feel like. Throw me $1 or $2. Very much appreciated. And of course, on Reddit, I have a place where you can leave stories if you want me to read one that you've written. Well, hoping to see you all again very soon. Till then, sweet dreams. Bye-bye.